What's going on YouTube? It's Matty B. Welcome back to the channel, and as always, thank you all for tuning in. I really appreciate it. I'm coming to you guys from the tower in the middle of the south of the border motocross track out here at SOBMX. I'm here for a youth regional. Racing was off the charts today, and I'll be here again tomorrow. But also, after the racing was done here, I just got done watching Hangtown, and that was a good one, as always. For Pro Motocross Round 2, we had the 250 class. It's kind of being taken by storm by Danger. I don't know who's going to be able to put a stop to him. And then in the 450 class, I thought we had a glimmer of hope. Looked like we had beast mode back and thought we had Jett on the ropes. But then second moto, it all changed. And we had a standout ride from AP, so that's always fun to see. And yeah, we'll get into all that and more in this video. And I'm out here in the middle of the track, so there's dozer noises and stuff in the background. I got a new mic, so hopefully that helps. But yeah, Hangtown race review, starting with the track. I'm not going to lie, Hangtown to me looks like by far the worst track on the circuit. I do think that the changes they made last year when they kind of did an overhaul on the layout and brought some new dirt in, I definitely thought those things were positive. But man, it does not look like it has much flow. Just a lot of singles, weird rollers, and offset rhythm type stuff. And especially with it being a Dutch oven and being like 110 degrees and then having no flow and low speeds and all that. Can't imagine it was that much fun, but that's why they make the big bucks, not me. And speaking of it being hot, they cut the moto length in the second moto. If I were a racer, I would have loved that. I mean, it's brutal, it's hot, and yeah, borderline unsafe out there. I mean, we have seen people pass away from a heat stroke at a national before, so I'm all about safety first. You know, you're going to get the argument, oh, back when men were men and blah, blah, blah. Like, you know, whatever. Like, I'm not really here for all that, but I do as a fan. I think it would have been cool to see those extra 5 minutes. Had Tomac not thrown it away before we got to that point, I was really thinking those last 5 minutes were going to be pretty pivotal in regards to how far Tomac was going to be able to charge back up, but didn't quite get to that point, so is what it is on that one. And then last thought, before we get into the results, super gnarly practice crash. I don't know exactly what section of the track it was, but right after a blind jump, blind hill, somebody crashed right on the downside of it, and a few people piled into him. I think it was Trevor Collup, went for a ride, man. Like, he went to Indonesia, front flip down the hill, landed right on his back, so that was a heavy hit. But I do believe everybody was okay, so that's really cool to see. I have no idea if it was a flagger deal or what, and especially, you know, sometimes if you're coming right out of a corner and heading down a blind hill or right off a blind jump, I mean, sometimes you don't even catch the flag quick enough with your own vision to even make an adjustment and not do the jump. So I'm not even here to try to place blame on anybody. Sometimes stuff just does happen, and yeah, it indeed did happen today. But enough about all that. Let's go ahead and get into the results. We'll start with the 250 class. It's Danger's world, and we are living in it. My gosh, this kid just owns the 250 class. Doesn't seem to ever get tired. It seems like he's just got endless amounts of energy. Can go wherever he wants on the track, put the bike wherever he wants it, and the dude doesn't even need to take the good lines to make a pass. He's just head and shoulders above the field, and I hope it's not going to be too boring of a summer, but I really do think there's potential of a Deegan 22-0. You know, obviously in the 450 class, that possibility is already off the table, but Deegan just looks like such a man amongst boys in that 250 class. And, you know, maybe it doesn't go 22-0, but if he doesn't win 11 of the overalls every round, I will be a little surprised, unless somebody makes a big run and makes a lot of improvement. And one of his biggest challengers that I was not expecting with another 2-2 has finished second in every moto so far this year, Joe Shimoda, Sushi, and he has came out firing at the beginning of the season, just tossing that stigma out the window about him not being good at the beginning of the year. And yeah, to start the season out with 4 seconds, you know, he's kind of doing what I thought Chance Hyman was going to do. I thought Hymas was going to be a big challenge to Deegan, but it actually seems like it's his teammate Shimoda that's really going to take it to him. I mean, 4 seconds in a row, I kind of feel like he's here to stay. So awesome start to the season for Sushi. And then also a 3-3, kind of crazy to have a 1-1, 2-2, 3-3 podium in the Piss and Vinegar 250 class, but a good bounce back for Levi Kitchen. Horrible weekend at Paula, bad first moto, broken chain in the second moto, so championship hopes kind of got thrown out of the contract immediately, but that was a great ride to put it back on the podium, especially coming back from injury. That crash at Daytona was brutal. So just the fact that he's back and firing at least close to on all cylinders is definitely cool to see. And then we'll kind of skim through a little bit faster here. An 8-4 for 4th overall for 2 Jews Beaumare. A really solid start to the season for him. And then same story with a 7-5 and 5th overall, Garrett Marchbanks. He's another one. Very solid. All 4 motos to start the season. And then this is cool. The Triumph boys finally found a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. They found an ounce of luck. Jordan Smith 6th and Mikkel Harp 7th. And I'm really excited to see what happens when we get to a track where Mikkel Harp is really comfy, because the dude is kind of fire and ice. He's really hot and cold, and when he's on, I mean, he is really on. So I'm excited to see what that looks like here in the States. I don't think we've seen it quite yet, but a 7th overall is definitely a glimpse of it compared to what we saw at Paula. 8th for Masterpool, 4-16, great first moto and a bummer second moto, but sometimes you'll have those on those bigger jobs. And then a 9th for Dylan Schwartz with a 9-13. And this dude is such a grinder. I mean, if the 250 Moto 2 was still going on right now, he would still be charging and he would still be making passes. The dude's got 2 jobs. He never gets tired, and he's super underrated. He hasn't quite figured Supercross out, it doesn't look like. But outdoors, that's his deal, and he's going to be right there fighting in that 8 to 12, maybe 15 on a bad moto range all season. A 10th for Mosman, which was almost a 4th, but he had a late race crash while running 4th in the second moto, so that was a bummer. But just cool to see some flash in the pan out of Michael Mosman, because we all know how good the dude is. It's just been a long road to get here. And then on paper, this result doesn't seem great, but an 11th for Casey Cochran, and I actually think this is incredibly positive, because the dude's been off all year with an injury. Coming back, the rehab, I think I even heard he had another issue with an injury after he got back on the bike. So it's been a rough go for the kid, but he put himself up front, led some laps in that first moto, and showed some serious speed. And the thing about running up front like that, when you haven't done it for a while or when you've been off for a while, is stuff starts happening really fast for you. You start to tighten up. You get a lot more tired than you usually would. And that's not to say he's not in shape at all. That just kind of comes with the territory of getting back in it and jumping back in the deep end. But I thought that was an awesome day from Casey Cochran, and I hope it just continues to improve from here. 13th for Drew Adams, a bad first moto, and a 7th in the second moto. And I think this is about what we might see from Drew this summer. He's going to definitely have some flashes of brilliance, but we're also going to see some rookie moments and maybe some inconsistency. But this kid is incredibly legit. Stay tuned to Drew Adams. And then another underrated dog, Dylan Schwartz's teammate, Parker Ross, goes 16-10 for 14th overall. And how about that top 10 in the second moto? This kid's a rookie. I mean, he did a few races at the end of the season last year, and then he did Supercross this year. But he's a brand new addition to the Bar X squad. He's another one. I think he's super underrated and flies under the radar, and he's going to be right there fighting in those spots, digging deep till the end. And yeah, if you're looking for hard chargers, look no further than Dylan Schwartz and Parker Ross. 15th for Hammaker after a crash out or some deal where he got a 40th in the second moto, so that's a bummer because apart from that, his start to the season was also quite solid. 17th for Tom Vial. I feel like that kind of ends the championship hopes right there, and that was also very uncharacteristic of Tom Vial. I kind of had him picked for the second or third spot in the championship just because I thought he would be there every weekend and stacking points, and already by round 2, he's kind of put himself in a deficit, so hopefully he's good by next weekend in Thunder Valley, but he's put himself in a tough spot. Water trucks driving by and get me wet. Chance Hyman, a bummer to be back in the 19th spot. 13th in the first moto, and then he did not line up for the second moto. I saw that he had food poisoning and was advised not to race Moto 2, so that's a huge bummer. You know, that's a massive amount of points tossed away. But if you have food poisoning at the Dutch Oven, million-degree national, I'm not really sure what else you can do, so just a victim of circumstance there. 23rd for Jack Chambers, and this is an interesting one I just wanted to bring up because he actually did not qualify for the motos. He didn't even get to race the first moto, but that may have helped him get a good second moto result because after making it in as an alternate for Moto 2, he ended up getting a 20th and grabbing some points in the second moto. 31st for Lance Kobush. How damn cool was that to get into the lead, throw a fist bump, and then even do some back and forth with Deegan. They were saluting each other. And a lot of people probably don't know, Lance Kobush was totally a mini bike prodigy, especially back on the 50s and 65s. He was unreal, multi-time amateur national champion. So it was cool to see him get his little moment. I mean, it's tough to do as a privateer, and hopefully he can use that and just build on it in the future because he's an awesome rider, and that 250 class is just so deep. I mean, you flip a coin from 20th to 40th. I feel like those guys are all so similar, and they're all bad dudes. Bummer for Jeremy Martin, 41st place, crashed out of the first moto and did not line up for the second one. I have now come to find out that the contract for Jeremy Martin and Star is only for the first 3 rounds, so I think it was maybe kind of dependent on how those first 3 rounds went, and so far, been kind of a disaster. So really hope Thunder Valley goes well for him because I want to see him around for the summer. But yeah, so far it's been rough. All right, now onto the 450 class, and I thought we weren't going to be having this conversation, but damn it, Jett won again. 3-1 for the overall in the first moto. That was a moto that I've yet to see out of Jett Lawrence while he's been healthy. Rare, not first or second place start, and then got into third and just couldn't really do anything about ET or AP, so that was a little unexpected. One thing I kind of noticed, and I also saw it on Twitter, Adam Cincerello pointed it out, that the rear end of Jett's bike was dancing all over the place, especially in Moto 1. It looked like it had calmed down a little bit in Moto 2, but I guess we'll never really know. It didn't seem like he had to push near as hard as he would have if Tomac or any of those guys had started up front. But what do you know? 3-1, another overall win. I think a 16, maybe a 17-point lead over AP, not even Tomac. And the dude's got everybody right where he wants them. Luckily, there's no perfect season talk. And honestly, for him, I almost wonder if that might even help him because he doesn't have that perfect season pressure already after round 2. So I think Jett Lawrence is on his way to winning this thing. I just hope we see plenty of challenges from others along the way. Then in second, AP, Aaron Plessinger with a 2-3. And I thought he had that damn first moto. That was such a depressing stat to hear that he had led like 34 laps at Hangtown in the last 2 motos and didn't get either of the wins. He got passed on the last lap last year, and with 2 to go this year. And it's hard when you're going against beast mode. There's not much you can do about it sometimes, but that was some awesome riding. He had a few tank slappers. He was pushing it, and I feel like that's maybe the best I've ever seen AP look outdoors. Followed it up with a third in the second moto, a second overall, and he's second in points also. So fantastic start to the season for AP, a total contrast to what he had going early in Supercross. Then third for Jay Coop, a 4-2. Really a great day and a great start to the season for him also, besides the second moto at Paula. But that second moto, he did exactly what Jay Coop needs to do, got up front. I mean, I don't know if he's necessarily expected to beat Jett, but he beat everybody else, landed himself on the box. We all love box, and a job well done. Then fourth, Eli Tomac. We had some flashes of beast mode, but unfortunately, it did not reflect in the results. A 1 and a 9 for fourth overall. And really, I thought he had a minor chance at least getting close to Justin Cooper in that second moto and salvaging the overall win. But yep, washed that front end, went down, and that was that. And when you go down in the middle of a battle, when it's like 1,000,000 degrees, I can't even begin to describe to you all how hard it is to just ratchet it back up. So definitely wasn't the same Eli after the crash. Even beast mode can be affected by stuff like that. But still, I'm just glad this guy's firing on all cylinders. And I'm glad that I can say the words beast mode because he does look damn good. It is a bummer that the inconsistency is costing him points early. He's already down a good handful of points to Jett at round 2. And Jett's not really a guy that you can just gain handfuls of points on by the weekend. So he's making it tough on himself as far as the championship goes. But man, he's making it fun to watch. Quiet fifth for Hunta, a 5-4. And then a sixth overall for Cooper Webb, goes 7-7. And I thought we were maybe going to see a little bit more out of him with that start up front in the second moto. But yeah, Coop's a Supercross guy. I mean, the dude definitely does not have his outdoor legs under him yet. And if I were him, I would have been so far over it in that Hangtown sun, riding that second moto on that rough track. I'd be kicking back with a beer at the pool. No choice, just checking my bank account from time to time. But he's a grinder. He's a digger. That's why he is who he is. And I said this last week. I think he gets better, but I think it's going to be a tough journey along the way, but Cooper Webb does not line up for these races to just go get 7th, 8th every weekend. 7th for RJ with a 6-8. I'm pretty sure everybody forgot to tell that guy that he just had surgery and got like a bone removed out of his hand or something because, yeah, he sure isn't riding like it. He's been dogging that 450 and putting in some great efforts, especially for a rookie season outdoors. Didn't really notice Anderson much. He was 8th with a 9-6, and then Prado 9th with a 12-5. I was worried in that first moto. I was wondering what in the hell was going on with the Spaniard, going all the way back to 12th, but maybe it was just a bike setup thing. I think he was trying the scoop tire, and maybe he was uncomfortable with it because he and Ombre both went back to the standard tire for the second moto, and whatever he did, it was a lot better for him. At least he got a 5th, but I did not necessarily have him getting absolutely smoked by Hunter and AP on my bingo card. I knew Jett and Eli would be tough, but I kind of thought he would probably have everybody else covered, with the exception of Chase, who's out. But yeah, it's been a bit of a rough start for him, but the dude's a 2-time world champion. You don't earn that on accident, and if I had to guess, he's probably just playing it smart. He's here on a 3-year deal, just trying to feel it out and make sure he's ready before he sends it, because we don't want to see him out with injury exactly like we saw in Supercross, because that stifles all progress, and nobody wants that. 10th for Malcolm Stewart with an 8-10, followed by Joey Savacci in an 11th, riding through a hand injury. after smashing a caution light. 12th for Cody Schock. I actually, after I'm saying this out loud, I'm a little surprised he went all the way back to 12th. Maybe some late moto issues or lost some spots late, because the dude was ripping up front, especially early in the first moto. He was running with some top guys. I mean, at one point, he was ahead of the 2025 Supercross champion and a two-time world champion, just totally in the mix on the Club MX 450. But the result, only a 12th. But still, I'm a big Cody Schock fan. He is super talented, and just his journey to get here, you know, he was in community college. He was not this amateur prodigy with these rides and money and this and that. He's really scratched and clawed his way to get here, and yeah, definitely has made a fan out of me. 13th and 14th for the Twisted Tea, just kicking it Suzuki boys of Paturel and Nichols. 15th for Lorenzo Lucrucio. I feel like he's had a pretty rough run outdoors for the last year or so, so really cool to see Lorenzo starting to ride to his potential again, because that dude is a dog. And then we had an off-road takeover, starting with Dante Oliveira in 21st overall, 28th in the first moto, and then snags himself 3 points with a 19th in the second moto. And honestly, I actually expected a lot more out of Dante. I mean, he's been to nationals and qualified in the single digits before, and he's just crazy fast. I mean, I just know how much speed the guy has, but so is everybody else on the gate. I mean, all these guys are so badass, and it's clearly evident if you just look through the results. Then you had Mason Simmons, the Australian, in 23rd overall. 1 point in the first moto with a 21st, followed up by a 26th in Moto 2. Dare DiMartile on the beta, and he was actually one of 4 betas in the show. First time Beta has ever raced a pro motocross race, and all 4 of the boys qualified in. But DiMartile was 26th with a 32.22. The younger brother of Beta team manager Bryson Gardner, was 27th, followed by Benny Bloss in 28th, which that's another bummer. He had some really good speed in qualifying and showed that Benny Bloss flash that we always see, but had some issues in the moto. I'm not sure if we had an early moto issue or what in the second moto, but he finished 39th, so second moto just wasn't in our contract. And then last but not least, shout out to my boy CJ Tucker, 37th, but he made the show. 4th place in the LCQ. My boy did it the hard way, but he is not on this Beta factory team like DiMartile and Gardner and all those guys. He is a support rider, so he pretty much has a Beta off the showroom floor with a few add-ons. Nothing like what those other guys have, and he still dogged it and put it in the main the hard way by racing his way in. And I'm just stoked for him. He's a good dude and a good buddy of mine. And CJ, I'm proud of you, dog. But that's all I got for you guys. Coming to you from south of the border. I apologize if there was some background noise, but I'm hoping it won't be too bad with this super high dollar, maybe like $50 Amazon microphone. But yeah, like I always say, let me know in the comments what you guys think about my takes. If you agree, disagree, if I'm a cooked unit, if you want to throw shade, or just plain hate, doesn't bother me. I'm here for all of it. But I appreciate you guys tuning in, and I'll catch you next time. No choice.